Good morning, I'm WaywornWyrm, and welcome to my channel. And welcome to the first episode of Annwyn's Legion, the first day and the first wave. Annwyn's Legionnaires, Spinward Front, Kulth, Ansridge, Company E, Platoon 2, 3rd Squad. Written by Sergeant Ibram. Day 1. I won't tell you much about what happened before we landed in this ruined town. If you're reading this, you know about the guard and the basic training and all that nonsense. Or maybe you don't, and if you don't, then you have no business in knowing, or even reading this, and I won't tell you. Annwyn's Legionnaires are a siege infantry regiment from the Schola Pragmentium. We aren't outright stormtroopers, but we are well-equipped sharpshooters. The entire regiment is in this town, and we've been given orders to hold it for 2 weeks. The town is in the middle of a forest, and Company D pulled tree clearing duty, so they're creating a field of fire around the entire town 100 meters from our front line. The rest of us are creating a 4-line deep trench system, digging down about 1.5 meters, filling our empty sandbags with dirt, and creating crenulations with good firing spots at shoulder level. Apparently, tomorrow a green-skinned horde will wash over us. Our goal is to not die for 2 weeks as greenskins try to take the town from us. I'm not sure what will happen after those 2 weeks, but our orders are for 2 weeks. This is an important thing to do because Lieutenant Ossian says it's important. And he says it's important because Captain Haddon told Lieutenant Ossian that it's important, and Colonel Gillian told Captain Haddon that it's important. Damned if I know why. But you might want to know why this is being recorded. Well, according to Colonel Gillian, NCOs are the organizational memory of a regiment, and if we keep a history of our squad, it will improve that memory, or some such. Anyway, we have a few hours of shut-eye now before the Orks get here in the morning, so I better get to sleeping. Day 2, early morning. It had just passed dawn when we saw the first of the damned creatures enter our line of fire. Gretchen. Of course it was Gretchen. They always start out with Gretchen. For a species so well known for their love of war and bravery to the point of stupidity and far beyond, Orks sure do love to send out bullet sponges ahead of their main force for every damned attack. Boudica was the first to fire in the squad, and her shot took out the first Gretchen at the tree line. Zephyr opened up with her multi-laser, putting 5 shots downrange in full auto. 1 was off target, second one was dodged by a Gretchen, but the other 3 hit and killed another 3 Gretchen. Macarius fired a shot that blew off the ear of a Gretchen. It was always somewhat funny to watch him shoot. He was clearly much more comfortable with his chainsword. But even he isn't stupid enough to charge an Ork charge. Regium was the first to miss that morning. We all knew it was going to happen, but it's always disappointing. Catlin's shot was well aimed, but the damn little Gretchen dove for the ground, and the slight up angle we had going on, due to our trenches, made sure that by the time it passed into the next rank of Gretchens, it was over the tiny bastards' heads. Casimir continued the bad luck with another miss. Now keep in mind, this entire time, the damn little buggers are running toward us. Patronus made up for the lack of luck of his comrades as he smoked a Gretchen. Our second heavy, Phaedra, had 3 of her 5 shots on target to 3 different Gretchen, who all managed to hit the dirt in time. Normally, Torian is the best shot in the squad, but apparently not first thing in the morning. After that disappointment, he switched to burst fire. Now, as sergeant, I spent most of my time focusing on keeping my squad alive, and damn if I don't do a good job of it as well. Unfortunately, that means I have the least amount of time to practice my firing, and am well known for being the worst shot in the squad, which was on full display at the start of the morning. As the Gretchens came ever closer to our lines, the spirit of the guard was on full display. Everyone was sighting in and calling their shots and scoring at least some kills. From the briefing, we knew at some point today ammo would become an issue. We only had 6 charge packs for our main weapons each. 600 shots seems like a lot at first, but then the heavies use up a shot a second, which means they can theoretically go through all of their ammo in 10 minutes. Torian, who was keeping on the burst fire, was going through 3 shots every 5 seconds, which would have him run out in 16 minutes and 45 seconds. And the rest of the guardsmen were going through a shot every 5 seconds, which would only last them 50 minutes. Our targeters sure got their usage that day, though. We were calling out headshots over and over. 30 seconds after they had burst from the trees, the Gretchens had breached our first firing line, and we started switching to pistols and combat shotguns, and even Torian's flamer. As the little bastards got into the range, they pulled out their blasters and started shooting back, although they slowed way down at that point. Because we were so dug in, it was hard for them to even hit us. That being said, their first shot actually hit Boudica, but her armor fully stopped the blow. Thank the Emperor for that small miracle. By the time they were 12 meters away, we had racked up an impressive number of kills. 52 Gretchen had fallen to our bullets and flamer. Looking up and down the line outside of the squad, the battle seemed to be going in a similar way. As the Gretchen came close to our lines, backup weapons were pulled out, and every squad had at least one weapon specialist who had some semi-exotic weapon like Torian's flamer. As they kept pressing forward, the deaths started to mount quickly for the Gretchen. And eventually, when they were at the point when Macarius and I were considering jumping out of the trench with our trained swords, their morale wavered and very quickly broke. And by the time they'd made it back to the tree line, our squad had scored over 100 kills. Not bad for a group of 10 people in the space of a minute and a half. We knew it wasn't going to be it, not even close. Proper Orks hadn't even made their appearance on the field yet. It wouldn't be too long after the Gretchens had reported their rout that we'd see the next wave. The main question was what the second wave was going to consist of. It would probably be various Ork boys, and their makeup was just as unknown as it was important. Oh, I hear something in the tree line. It's probably them. Yeah. I hear their war cry. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Awen's Legionnaires. And make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next episode of Horde of the Dragon Queen.